Welcome to the first episode of the second season of...
What? Really?
I know, right? Of TeeVo The Beard.
Wow.
Yeah, I figure we've done 25 main episodes, plus some filler here and there. And so we can, put that in a little season 1 capsule, and then this will start the next playlist on YouTube. That way people can, keep up with us better, and they don't have a playlist of 11 billion episodes on one thing.
Well, I suppose once we get this uploaded, we will put that link in the bio.
Yes, for
but
Instagram.
You can also still check out the other ones.
Yes, please go re-listen to season 1. I guess you can binge listen.
Yes,
is what you can do. Yeah.
Well, I do that with Anna Faris. So
right, which I've started listening to.
Really?
I have. I started with the most recent episode, the RuPaul episode.
I haven't finished that one, but I enjoy it so far.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
I'm loving it. Yeah.
It's an interesting little kind of. It sounds so simple, yet
Yeah. It's one of those though that is very famous people are just like us sort of thing. Yeah.
For the next one, you should listen to definitely Zachary Levi.
Okay.
It's a really good one.
Yeah.
So you'll eventually get there, and it's pretty recent. So
okay.
But still, I of the most recent ones, I definitely enjoy that one. So
yeah,
give that a listen.
I like that it's kind of they know they're famous, they know they're stars, and that's the reason they all kind of congregate in similar circles. But at the same time, I believe she said it's recorded at her house.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just this. She didn't have a lavish studio like we do here.
The only thing she has more is microphones.
More microphones, yeah. Instead of Android, our episode is brought to you by Android here to record the episodes. But I think we do well with what we have. Yeah. I want to give a special shout out to one of our fans. We finally had somebody else comment on.
I saw that
on our episode. A mutual friend of ours who understands he got called out a little bit on my rant, and I will admit that he was in my mind when I was thinking about it. But there are other people too.
But the other one I called out still.
You specifically called out the one we called Mike.
Has not came to defend his honor.
Right.
So.
Well, maybe he's asleep.
Maybe he was asleep.
Yeah, maybe he fell asleep listening to the podcast.
Probably did.
Yeah.
So that offer to defend your honor is still on the table.
Right, yes. And the offer that we made back in season 1, episode 1 of Power Rangers versus Star Trek, we will dedicate an entire episode to that.
Whoever shall do that. But enough about people.
Yes.
Let's start out with movie news.
Movie news.
Brief news. So what we're going to do, people, here is we're going to talk about movie news.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go into the show.
Right.
And we're going to do a little mini spoiler review of Split.
Right. The new M. Night Shyamalan.
Or whether, we'll call it just a spoiler-filled ending.
There will be
there will be breaks in between.
Right. And there'll be a nice warning before we get to the movie review, definitely, because it is an M. Night movie, so there is a twist, and some people don't mind going into it spoiled. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, though, I'll use his oldest one, Sixth Sense, being that Bruce Willis is dead. If you go in knowing that, totally changes the movie for you.
And it also changes watching it again, because you can watch it so many times.
I've only watched it twice, and it came out in, 99, 97, something like that. Yeah, and the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, this doesn't make any sense now.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
First off, big news in the DC world. Mm-hmm. Ben Affleck is out as the director of The Batman.
Yes.
What do you think?
I like Affleck as a director for serious movies like Argo, the new one he has out that I can't think of the title of.
Which actually I
City
did
in the
see,
Night.
Live by Night.
Live by Night.
And it's not that good.
Okay.
It's not that good.
It's,
it's really overindulgent. Every scene and the good stuff is written, because it was also written by Affleck, was written with Affleck. So it was a misfire, let's just say that.
Yeah, and I just can't see him writing for the superhero genre.
He's still writing it.
Or directing for, excuse me.
Well,
I got a head in my head on other news.
But I read an article of who can save the Batman, and I'm thinking there's nothing to save right now that we know.
Yeah.
Nothing is out. No plot is out.
Right. Yeah.
As far as
we know, Batman will be in it.
As far as we know, this is the best time if you're a director to opt out when there is no production yet.
Right.
That way, the studio can find somebody.
Yeah.
I think I also read that he did express lately it's going to be hard because he's going to be Batman in the movie.
Right.
He's going to be wearing the Batman suit, and if he's directing himself, he's going to have to be Batman directing the movie. Then
I want to see
Batman.
these production stills of Batman behind the camera.
won't
looking
be
at
anymore.
dailies. Well, yeah, but yeah.
But just
I want some to already exist.
But anybody who has even directed a play knows it's very hard to do that, and to also act in it. It's very difficult. I did a one-act play once, and I was stuck as the director.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't direct myself because I was trying to learn my lines,
right?
Let alone tell you how to do yours.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, that and also depends on the type of person you are, because I had a YouTube show long ago now, probably about 11 billion years ago, where I would go around our unnamed town here, and I would interview different people, and I would have to basically write the show as far as like questions and stuff like that, direct the show, edit the show, and I was the main interviewer.
Yeah.
And I'm a very critical person of myself, so I would end up overanalyzing things, and how can I do this better and this better, to the point where it lost the fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, but with Affleck's case, you're also not wearing a heavy bat suit.
That did help that I wasn't wearing that, but I was wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah, so
figuratively.
So as far as I'm concerned, as long as the movie still has somewhat life, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they had a cast, because the only person they had was Jeremy Irons and Ben Affleck. Who else we know is in it? Nobody. Right. We don't even know the plot. So let someone else come in. Sure.
And also, it is Batman. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's not like, you're taking some C or D list superhero and saying there's going to be a movie about them, and then the director hops out. Then you're like, whoa, we're never going to get to see,
this person.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a D list superhero at the moment, but or even like
Plastic
Squirrel
Man.
Girl, something like that. So yeah, there's always been Batman movies. There's always going to be Batman movies. I'm not worried.
However, we should be worried, though, about The Flash.
The Flash, yes, because
What is going on with that?
They took the script, read like the first page,
well,
threw it in the shredder.
If you remember, they got their star, they got their director, they got their writer, and they got other people. Yeah. You're thinking, cool.
We've almost got a movie.
And then they dropped the director, or the director dropped the movie. Yeah. You're like, okay, much like right now with Affleck.
And it also happens all the time in every genre of movie. You have directors popping in and out.
Yeah, but then they got another one. You're like, yay, he's the one that actually brought the actress who's playing Iris.
Right.
Well, then he's gone now. Yeah. And now we're thinking, oh, that's not
But at least we have a script. We have words.
Not anymore.
No.
They want to trash all that, as far as I know.
And start from page 1. Just...
now that is a red flag.
Yes.
That is a red flag. I actually wouldn't mind if the Flash, for now, just stays as a supporting character for Justice League.
Yeah.
They seem like they're writing him for the comic relief of the movie.
Right.
Why not keep him that way?
Yeah, I mean, Flash is one of those, kind of like Spider-Man, where you don't have to have an origin story. You don't. I mean, it's okay if you have it, but it's not necessary.
Well, I hate to say this because I hate when people, compare the DC TV shows to the movies, and I'm thinking, a different thing. Come on, people. Come on. I'm glad that you enjoy the shows, but come on, different thing. But I hate to say it in this way, but the show has done such a good job with the Flash.
Right.
Whatever movie you're going to do, unless you're going to do something, just anything the show can't, as in, good CGI.
Right, yeah.
And when I say good, I mean, I was talking about with somebody else. I like Savitar. Yeah. But the scenes where Savitar is beating up the speedsters, it looks 100% CGI.
Oh, for sure, yeah. He doesn't not look like he's in the same scene.
Yes. So, with the movie budget, you can possibly make scenes like that.
Right.
Look kind of real.
I mean, if they can make Groot and Rocket look real and make you believe them as characters, then yeah, I think they could
you can do Speed Force stuff.
Right.
But nonetheless, they're just doing a good job. So unless you plan to do something that the show just absolutely cannot do,
right?
leave it alone.
Yeah, and
I
a
mean,
lot of
we don't-
people,
yeah,
a lot of people that are going to go see a Flash movie, are going to be familiar with the show.
yeah.
Yeah,
But we don't need, you don't, I mean, right now, as far as the movieverse is, you don't need to introduce the Reverse Slash,
right,
you know, and just basic speed stuff.
right.
So,
I mean, it's stuff we've seen.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
Unlike with a Batman, you know, you can introduce things but he has a whole arsenal of villains.
Right.
He can bring someone back that we've only seen maybe once.
Can we stop getting people who aren't even into comics know Batman's origin story. So can we stop getting that, though?
Exactly.
Spoiler alert, his parents died. Then he becomes Batman. You don't need anything else.
Let's see what else before we head to...
Well, on my side of the movie news, it's Star Wars.
The Last
Star
Jedi.
Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. It finally has a title. I think it has an excellent title.
For those who are listening, go to Josh Gad's Instagram. Have you seen it?
I've not.
It is so funny because he is doing a movie called The Murder on the Orient Express with Kenneth Branagh, and Daisy Ridley is in it.
Okay.
And so it was about maybe a day or so, or maybe a week after they released The Last Jedi, as in the name.
Right.
He calls Daisy Ridley to his trailer, and he's recording it. And she comes in, she's, all smiling the way Daisy Ridley is lovely that way. And he's just going, we have the scene today, and I was just hoping we could, maybe run lines and, talk, and just so we're prepared. She's like, okay. Yeah. And the camera is pointed right at her. And you just hear him go, so who's the Last Jedi? And she just looked in just the whole...
Nice.
No, we're not doing. No, it's okay. I will tell you about Frozen 2.
Nice. Who is the last Olaf?
So she leaves the trailer. So no, we do not get any news from her.
Well, I love the ambiguity of the title because Jedi is both singular and plural at the same time. So is it the Last Jedi?
Yeah.
Or is it the Last Jedi?
Yeah.
I'm trying to use longer vowels to illustrate my hand movements here on an audio cast. Also, the fact that its lettering its font is red.
Well, they already said they're going to mirror the tone of the original trilogy.
Right.
So you had the happy first movie.
Right.
And the second movie's a bummer. So if that's an indication. And also the red lettering. Yeah. This movie's going to be a bummer.
Yeah, because it's the only one to use red lettering for its actual marketing. The only other one to use that before was when Return of the Jedi was going to be called Revenge of the Jedi. Its lettering was red.
Yes.
So.
They use a red or around Revenge of the Sith, though.
Right.
But the letters weren't red, but there was kind of,
Yeah. So it's going to be the Return of Darth Maul is what it is.
Oh, man, that'd be something.
That would be, yeah.
But I don't think so. I think they're in good hands the way they are now.
Well, the thing I really like about the Star Wars universe is it opens itself up to, the fandom creating whatever type of speculation and theories and stuff that they want for it.
And also, I think I was talking to our good friend, Saran.
Yeah.
We'll just say his name.
Yeah, we'll say his name, because eventually we want to have him on the show.
Yeah. Stuff like, comic book movies, we can predict what's going on.
Right.
Because there is a source material. While they don't verbatim do the source material, you kind of know the general arc, as it's going. If you're somewhat familiar. You don't have to be fully familiar.
Yeah.
But with Star Wars lately, and even Harry Potter, with the prequel movies or prequel universe movies they're doing, they can more with Star Wars though. It's a surprise.
Yeah,
I don't know what is going to happen in The Last Jedi, and that's exciting to me. Whereas, say in Black Panther, I'm gonna guess, this villain's gonna do this, and they might have an Infinity Stone, and Spider-Man's gonna fight the Vulture, and it's gonna be a growing up lesson, and Infinity War is going to be culmination. I know that. I don't know exactly the specifics, but we can get that.
Right. Yeah, and the only one that kind of fall into that category with Star Wars would be Rogue One, where basically know the ending, but how they get from A to B is the fun part.
Well, with The Last Jedi, you don't even know where they're going to start.
Nope. They could start right where 7 ended. They could. It would be 10 years later, this is what's going on.
And we don't know how it's going to end.
Right.
But I really hope that Luke doesn't die.
Right. Yes. Keep Luke alive.
Well, especially because, you know, as unfortunately as it is, you know, Carrie Fisher is no longer with us. And while she did complete episode 8, you know, if Luke dies, then we have no original people.
Right.
In episode 9. So,
Chewbacca.
Well, even like Peter Mayhew isn't doing.
Yeah.
So,
but at least Chewbacca is a costume character, so
and R2 and C-3PO.
Yeah, and
I don't know, maybe not.
Well, R2. I mean, I used to love R2D2 and C-3PO, especially in the original trilogy. But the fact that they have been in every incarnation of Star Wars, including the crappy Christmas special, I'm kind of droided out. You know,
you welcome BB.
I welcome BB-8, and I even welcomed, you know, Wash's character. His K2, yeah. So yeah, we can have more original droids. You know, give R2 a break.
But I remember reading something. It's all rumor until we see it. But there is tease by an anonymous person. There is going to be a 4-way lightsaber battle.
Yeah.
Between Kylo Ren and Rey. And Snoke and Luke.
Right.
That happened. Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, we have the technology. We can do it.
Oh, yeah. And just, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, the first battle between Rey and Kylo Ren was pretty cool already. So you add Snoke, and we finally get a Snoke.
Yeah.
As in, Snoke comes in, not a giant hologram head, where I'm confused if that's a hologram or not.
Because that's the only part I didn't really care for in Force Awakens.
I couldn't tell. I was like, oh my god, oh no, that is not a real person.
Right.
As in that is not a real person sitting there.
Yeah. So, but enough about the movies there. We're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about this week's shows with Supergirl, The Flash, and...
So if you didn't watch them...
Yeah, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is going to be spoilery, of course. That's why we give you the little musical interlude. And then we're going to come back and spoil the shows for you. And we're back.
So let's start with Supergirl.
Supergirl, yeah, that's always a good place to start.
It comes on Monday.
Right. Now, I am the Supergirl advocate.
Okay.
I watched all of Season 1. I purchased all of Season 1 on Amazon.
You only half regret it.
I only half regret it, yeah. For the most part, I love Season 1. For the most part, I'm loving Season 2. I even enjoyed this episode, but I have to say that this was a filler episode.
Okay.
Even though I knew it was going to have Livewire on it. And I love Livewire.
I love Livewire too.
Yes.
If they ever do like a Legion of Doom multiverse crossover, Livewire should be in the Legion of Doom.
Yes, for sure. So
that's just that.
We're going to try to I've noticed in the past that we've gone not necessarily chronologically through the shows, and we end up forgetting stuff or having to go back to stuff. So we're going to try to keep a little bit of more of an order this time, since we are on Season 2 of our show.
Right. Fresh start.
Try to sound a little bit more professional.
Like Supergirl.
Like Supergirl. So this episode starts off with Kara and Mon-El are training.
Yes.
And it's in the perfect Supergirl way. It is a way where you can take superpowers and, you know, heat vision and all this normally negative, violent stuff, and still make it puppy dogs and kittens and stuff like that, because they're beating up these cardboard figures and blowing up children cardboard figures. But they do it in a way that is like, oh, Mon-El, you guy. So what did you think about the Mon-El wanting to be a superhero in his training sequence here? Superhero Fight Club.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, he had a point in the last episode. If you got these powers, you got a responsibility. And I think he's doing it well so far. Yeah. And I just still like the actor that's playing Mon-El. Yeah. He got that sense of I don't know, it's just something about him that makes the character better. Yeah. Because I feel like the character could have been boring.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And something about his natural charisma is making it not.
Yeah, because if you look at Mon-El on paper, he is another Superman, basically. So it does take a certain type of actor to come in to make it his own thing, and I believe that he's done that. Yeah, because there are times where he does things that are very Superman.
Yes.
But then there are times that he is very Mon-El. Like when that he joined Supergirl to go out and actually, their first little fight together out in the real world. He does the nice Superman thing of protecting citizens. Mm-hmm. And Kara's trying to explain to him, okay, yeah, you stay back with them. I'm going to fight the main baddie here. But then he does the Mon-El thing of saying, no, I want to be in the ruckus.
Because you're getting hurt.
Right, yeah.
But I would have told Mon-El and be like, okay, protect them, but get them to safety. Don't just huddle them.
That was a strange thing. It's like, okay, he has the door of the SUV in front of him there as a shield. And the people are still, like, within 10 feet of the fight.
Yes.
So it's like, no, move them completely out of the building.
Yes.
Then you can come back.
Put them in the minivan and then... and move the minivan or something. I don't know.
I mean, even if the minivan were just push it out the way. You have the strength. You can do this.
Yes.
And then, of course, we have James Olsen joining the fight also. And he gets injured through all this. And Kara finds out what he's been doing.
And we'll touch more on it, but I like how you say it's a filler episode. Yeah. We got a lot of revelations in this episode, though.
We did, but it seemed to be a lot of revelations to the characters more than to the audience.
The plot?
Right.
I just thought that was an interesting thing, that all the cards were left out on the table right now, because as we're talking about the Guardian joining Mon-El and Kara in the battle...
Mm-hmm. Uninvited.
He gets injured because he took a shot and knocked him unconscious. Mm-hmm. And what a great opportunity to take off the mask.
And I was really surprised they did that, because in like every other superhero show, every horror movie and show out there, when somebody with a mask gets knocked down, they're always about to go towards it, and then something distracts them, and they don't get to see who it is. But this one, she just walks up there and takes the mask off.
So the whole mystery of, does Supergirl know who the Guardian is? Done now.
Done. Yeah, get that out the way.
Out the way.
Yeah, and she is not happy about it. Yeah.
And she was not happy that everybody knew. And except
Mon-El.
Who blatantly said, I didn't know this.
Yeah. And I love that about the character and the actor is, he is kind of the fish out of water still. Like I mentioned in the last episode or two, where it's like, he's learning things as he goes along there, and he's not afraid to admit it.
Yes.
Doesn't know what soda water is, doesn't know who the Guardian is.
Yes. But he does now.
But he does now.
So he's learning.
Yeah, and we do get to see that side of Kara where she does the opposite with James that she did with Mon-El, where with Mon-El she says, okay, you have these superhuman abilities, you have to be a superhero.
Yes.
Whereas like, James, you're human, you cannot be a superhero. But let's get on to Livewire a bit here. Because
I love Livewire.
I do. I love the character. I love the actress that plays her.
I love her choices. I love the way they write her.
Yeah.
She's
an accidental supervillain. Yeah. I love that about it.
And they can give her some corny things, but it just looks cool.
Right. Yeah, and the fact that, did you see her episode in season 1?
I've seen all of the Livewire ones.
Okay. So, when she's created...
Yes.
She was a quote-unquote shock jock, and now she has electric powers. Yes. So I love just that.
You're live and wired,
right? Yeah. So that is comic book cheese right there, and I love that they incorporate that into the.
But the show. On Supergirl at least, and the Flash too.
Yeah.
There are villains that come off just really corny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can definitely go too far. Mirror Master or whoever.
They can give her that stuff, but whatever they do with the makeup and the effects and her acting choices works.
Yeah, you want to be on her side, even if she is the bad guy.
And I think they know that, because what other villain on the show, like the villain of the week, what other villain of the week has shown up more than twice already?
Yeah, exactly.
So they know that Livewire is their
Yeah.
They're a good one there.
Well, and this was also a very much enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of thing between Supergirl and Livewire, because Livewire...
What a twist!
Yeah, she's been... this is the episode of twists. Between the shows and the film review, everything's going to get twisted. So Livewire has been kidnapped.
But you thought that she escaped.
Right, yeah. So, because, and they play it just right. Even though it happens very quickly, and to the audience it's revealed very quickly that she's been kidnapped, it would look from the outside that, she made her escape, she's off on a rampage again.
Thing again.
Yeah, and now we have multiple. I guess we can use Livewire as a proper noun here.
Guess so.
Yeah, so you have boy Livewires, girl Livewires. It's like everybody gets shocking powers now.
But the end goal was this doctor dude was trying to make super soldiers.
Right.
Because why not?
Yeah, because he was the main bad, the actual villain, capital V, of the episode.
And what did you think of kind of that hero rift with Guardian and Mon-El?
I mean, how do you mean?
Well, remember when Wynn was saying, "Oh, I gotta make a suit for Mon-El. I gotta make you a suit. I'm so busy," and then he's just like, "What?
Oh,
Mon-El's he's being a hero."
Yeah,
and even when they separately go to encounter the evil scientists, and they meet up, they kind of have oral words a bit before the action happened.
Yeah,
and by action they got kidnapped.
Yeah, I think that they want to get along, but both of them are very prideful for different reasons. You have Mon-El, who hasn't been revealed officially yet, but was the prince of his world, and then you have James, who wants to make a difference. With more than just photography and journalism.
Yes.
So you have these two, strong personalities clashing there. But the underlying level is that they like each other and they want to make it work together. They just have to get past those.
They also like Kara.
Yeah, they do also like Kara. That doesn't help, when you have a girl in the middle. And I'm sure they will use that.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, they've used this kind of stuff before. They're going to use it again. Though I am team Kara and Mon-El on this, I was team James and Kara before, but
I don't think I'm team Kara with any of them.
Yeah,
in this way, if like you, I am more Mon-El, but I hope that Mon-El just becomes another character, not just a boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't want it to actually turn into a relationship, but if it has to, that's the way I want to see it go. Because the problem is when you get two super characters in a relationship like that, either they've got to stay in this happy relationship, or you've got to put like this major conflict. They don't have a normal breakup sort of thing like Alex and her girlfriend every other hour,
but not this one.
Not this one. No, they were.
Thank goodness
they were good in this episode. They didn't get as much screen time.
No, they did
not.
Is
what it was. So they didn't have time to fight.
But with that, they find out that Livewire is the victim this time around,
right? And
they defeat, much like every week, they defeat the villain. But Livewire does not go back to prison.
No, because Kara, like I said, is a very much enemy of my enemy is my friend. So Kara sees that Livewire was the victim here and has compassion for her. Even though that's controversial, with some of the other characters, they wanted to see her get locked back up. But Kara's like, well, maybe she's not that bad. I'm sure she will be again,
because we want her to be that bad.
Yeah, she is a great bad guy. Yes. So we definitely...
Again, like I said, what other person has been featured 3 times already?
Yeah.
That's not a Luthor or something.
Now, one thing I did like about this episode, even though I am calling it filler, and I'm calling it filler just on the, within the Supergirl universe.
Right.
I'm definitely not putting down the show at all. It wasn't like last season's Thanksgiving episode that didn't tell us anything or do anything. Like you said, this one did reveal things to the other characters, at least. But it also had an A plot and B plot. There wasn't much else going on at all. There wasn't,
no breakup with Maggie.
Kara fighting at work and stuff like that. So you have the Martians.
Yes.
Hank, John, Green Martian, whatever you want to call him. He wants to find out information, and he wants to help Megan. I'm just going to call her Megan because that Megan stuff doesn't work for me. So he goes in to do the little Vulcan mind meld with her, and he brings in Kara and Alex saying, I'm about to, go see things again. I'm about to be put right back in the war, and I'm going to witness things, and I need you guys here with me. And there's all this build up and build up and build up, and then he actually, mind melds with her, and they're just together in the middle of the Martian desert, and you don't see much of any war going on. I mean, it's going on, but I mean, he just like really built it up. Like, I'm gonna have PTSD after
and that's
I get done with this.
And that's the drawback of being on a TV budget.
Yeah, but it's like with the script, don't
put it there.
Don't build it up that
it.
much. Bring like Kara or Alex in there with you, and say, I just need some emotional support.
I might
be
experiencing something.
He's like, I will see this, and I don't know what will happen. You're gonna actually see Megan's explanation for why she did what she did, and that she's not the bad guy in your history.
Yes. Whenever I see David Harwood and Sharon Leal perform their parts, because they are playing Martians,
right?
And they are told that they're going to be CGI'd at points. I gotta wonder what it's like to have to emotionally say lines like that.
Yeah.
Because at least with Supergirl, with Melissa Benoist, she is wearing the costume.
Right.
She
is Supergirl for all intents.
So whenever there are lines where she has to talk about completely made up stuff, kind of helps. But whenever David Harwood and Sharon Leal are on probably a CGI blue screen,
right? Yeah,
talking about having to really emotionally nearly cry about these things.
You don't actually see anything running past you and all that, because that's all done in post. Well, yeah, but even like the couple things that are happening in the background. Yeah. They don't see, because that's all, it's not like they have a little monitor showing them what we see. Yeah. That's all post-production stuff. So they're literally working with nothing.
Yeah.
Which says a lot about the actors.
It just says that. Just when they're talking, she has to just so emotionally spout out stuff about, I saw a little green or something. Yeah. And I was like, wow.
You saw nothing.
And this sounds ridiculous.
Right.
The day you're doing it. It probably pays off when you see the episode, but the day you're doing it.
Because if you just close your eyes and listen to their back and forth there, it does not make any sense.
No, not at all.
There's nothing,
But as far as Revelation goes, they do perform the Martian bond.
Right.
And now Jean forgives, or is accepted Megan.
Yeah. But again, that's another one of those things where, as an audience, we already knew her story.
Yeah.
I would have liked if some of these things would not have been revealed to us before. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously the Guardian stuff would be, but like Megan's story, we got like everything already. So when the fact that they spent the money and the CG technology and all that to make this happen, I think it was a little bit of a waste. Because
I think the only thing it wanted to do was just the whole. Now the Martians are a duo.
Right. Yeah.
That's about it.
So everybody's a good guy now.
And the last bit of revelation, so Mon-El decides to finally tell Kara that, yes, I like you.
Right.
And instead of being weird, like when she approached him about the kiss, he was like, what?
Yeah, what kiss?
I don't know what you're talking about. No, he finally said, no, I do remember.
Right.
What that means for the future, we don't know. But
right. They could keep it platonic and on a business level, or...
Is what he proposed.
Right.
Or maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe he just does that as the way guys try to prevent getting hurt.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to pretend like I like you, but I don't like you. So that way, if you don't like me back, we're cool.
Yeah. But
really, I'm heartbroken when you say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've all been there. Now, the next episode is called Martian Chronicles.
And as McGann said, the Martians are coming.
Right.
And this is one of those things, unless it's written well, like Flashpoint, something like this should take a lot of episodes because it's a big deal.
And it should be, yeah.
But I have a feeling it won't be.
Yeah, it's going to be like one, The Martians are going to come while Supergirl's having a musical episode with The Flash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it should be almost as big as Invasion.
It should.
And even as cool as Invasion was for TV, it still left a lot of things they could have done.
Right.
But, so, whatever.
So, we'll definitely see. I do like that they're exploring that more now that we have the team up.
Yeah.
And I imagine that it's going to be mostly around them, with the B plot will then be whatever, Supergirl's doing.
Maggie and Alex are having a fight again. That's the B plot.
Yeah, the B plot will be another breakup.
Oh no, I can't handle you doing this. Blah, blah, blah. No, please.
Are you on the white Martian side or the green Martian side?
Well, I can't be with somebody.
Yeah, you're on the green Martian side. I can't believe that. So, and like we like to do, we're going to stay in the same universe.
We're going to vibe over.
Oh, nice.
to another Earth.
Right.
The Flash, I enjoyed the episode.
I really enjoyed the episode. I really enjoyed Gypsy.
Yes.
Really enjoy her. I want to see more of Gypsy. Both the character and the actress.
I love how just completely enamored and sometimes inappropriate Cisco was to her.
Yes.
Even in the face of death threats.
Yeah.
He was trying to just be like, let's take this somewhere else. Like, you want to go get some coffee?
Yeah,
or,
a little bar down and get something.
Do you like Thai?
Yeah. So, but this episode starts, of course, we found out in the end of last episode that if you weren't familiar with the characters, that there was somebody who came from another Earth looking for HR. Mm-hmm. So we find out that this is Gypsy, and that she is basically like the police coming over, or like more like a bounty hunter,
yes,
really, coming over to find HR because he broke the cardinal rule of Earth 19. You do not go jumping to other dimensions. Nope. Now, to kind of fast forward a little bit here, I thought it was strange, though, that when she mentioned it another time, she said laws, mm-hmm, plural. But then they never explained what that meant.
I take it you're going back to the notion, like, don't write it in.
Yeah.
If you can't explain it.
Yeah, so it's like, was, jumping to another dimension the only thing HR did, or did he have like a little rap sheet over on that Earth? But yeah, so she comes over, and we find out that the payment for breaking the cardinal law is death, which does seem a bit extreme. But what can happen is, instead of you going back for death, you can have somebody can come in and fight for you.
Yes.
They can fight Gypsy. And I think it's funny how Cisco asks, has she ever been defeated before? What's a fight to the death, Cisco? So, obviously not. And Gypsy has vibing.
Yes.
Vibing powers.
Yes.
But they are more powerful than anything Cisco can do.
Yes.
She's stopped Kid Flash in his tracks.
She outwitted Barry.
She can jump both through dimensions to different parts of the room. She has like portal technology there. She has a coffee addiction, just like HR.
Yes.
And I thought our show was brought by coffee. Their show is definitely sponsored by coffee. With Snow, there's not too much going on. Caitlin didn't,
No,
I thought she was going to have a bigger part, because when Cisco started training, I thought, oh, well, you got, another metahuman right here, who I know she's kind of scared of her powers, but you could utilize it a little bit.
Yes.
To actually give him something to fight against, instead of just...
I thought that too, but I thought, I was like, nah, then because, then they might do a twist of like, oh no, the inhibitors aren't working.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
Yeah. But at least in Supergirl, Mon-El got cardboard cutouts to fight against. Cisco gets an empty room.
Yes.
And that's it. But he does start learning how to use his powers better. He starts being able to open little mini portals. And
he defeats Gypsy with his incredible pelvic powers.
Yes.
Because he didn't, other than getting a hint from video playback, he doesn't really do anything to stop her.
No, he knocks her off her feet when her feet are off the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just constantly hit on her till he really just ran her.
Yeah. Yeah, he
ran her dry.
He wore her down both emotionally and physically there. But I do like how we've mentioned in the past, especially you have mentioned how Barry has been unable to solve simple problems without asking for help. This time, the opposite was true, where Cisco ended up having to get Malfoy's help. And yes, I'm still going to call him Malfoy.
And going back with Barry, I love the beginning when the Flash and Kid Flash are stopping the, speeding car with guns.
Yeah.
And he was directing his sidekick to do this.
Yeah.
Because he was being the hero, and I really hope they keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the only way Barry knows what to do is if he has somebody right beside him who he's training. So it's like he has to, before he didn't have anything to prove to anybody.
Yes.
But now it's like, no, Kid Flash is relying on me.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm still waiting for something to happen with Kid Flash's showboating. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was going to happen this time with the, group of hot cheerleaders, or however Barry words it. Yeah, almost getting in trouble with Iris there. I thought, when he starts taking selfies with them, something was going to happen. But people don't go ripping off masks. Yeah. So that's a good thing.
Well, I think it helps because the Flash's mask is wrapped around his head.
Barry's would be harder
and
to take off.
And so is Kid Flash, because you have to peel it down instead of rip it off.
Yeah. But his would be a little easier than Barry's to get off there.
The only thing I'm surprised of is that I don't know why he hasn't told Wally to do the vibrating voice thing.
Right. Yeah, because he's still Wally when he talks.
Yeah.
And I guess it's, maybe
he doesn't know how.
Yeah, he might not know how, and also he doesn't really get out in the public as much as Barry does.
Yeah.
Barry's around people all the time. We really don't know what Wally does in his free time besides practicing running.
Yes.
Which, we'll get to.
We'll get to that plot point.
Will come in handy. I like that this was an HR episode.
Yes.
We got to see more about his character and all that. Him and Cisco's relationship got to, grow a bit, and we find out that the reason Cisco wants to help HR is because of the times past Harrison Wells have helped him. So what do you think about that? Do you see it more as like a father-son relationship growing, or like a brother relationship type thing, or?
I think it goes on the mentor thing.
Okay.
There are sometimes there are relationships that don't transcend that family level, but they're very important to you.
Yeah. But these shows with Supergirl
and
Flash,
they're totally family.
Yeah, they like to point us in that direction at least.
I think it's more mentor.
Okay.
Which is still an important thing, so I think it kind of goes there. So
do you think it's going to be like Cisco was saying how in the past he relied on Harrison, but now HR is relying on Cisco, how the tables have kind of
something like that.
turning.
I think that was mentioned in the episode, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the notion that they need each other. We need each other more than each other just needs the other person.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
And I also like that we got to see the less cocky side of HR. Mm-hmm. He was scared in this episode, both for himself and for Cisco, because him and Barry, even though they went behind Cisco's back to try to capture Gypsy, the reason they did it wasn't so much that they didn't believe, at least I don't believe, that they didn't believe in Cisco, but let's try to do it this way instead so we can avoid, the battle between them.
But Barry did not have the pelvic powers that Cisco
No, he didn't have the pelvic powers. And what do you think of, Malfoy, the newest Julian?
I like him.
Yeah, so do I.
I like him on the team.
Yeah.
I think so far, if he stays on the show, he should be that guy who just says
inappropriate things,
but what's needed to be said.
Yeah.
And that's
no social graces.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
We at least with the Flash and Supergirl, there are a lot of puppies and rainbows moments. Right. So it's nice to have a character just say, nope, this is how it is.
Yeah.
And one of those things he said was, what confused me about this episode was I thought that we were in agreement, as in we as fans and the show, were in agreement that if you change the dominoes, the outcome might be different.
Right.
Yet they're still playing it.
Yeah.
Like it's still going to be that.
Right, yeah. Like they haven't touched a single domino.
Yeah, and they just forgot about that.
Right.
They're still intent on changing things.
Well, they've gone from dominoes to Legos.
Yes. They insisted on they know they have to change things, but I thought that I don't know. I just kind of thought, I thought you would you accomplish these things.
Yeah.
Iris won't be there. Now we still predict someone's going to be there.
Right.
But it might not be Iris.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept making it seem like he still has to save Iris.
Right.
Which he might have to save somebody.
Yeah.
And, Malfoy was there to say, yeah, you gotta be here and here. And I don't think you can be that fast.
Yeah, I love that. And the whole, future plot was the B plot in this episode. And they were like, you have to move in 0.29 seconds or something like that. And yeah, he comes out and starts drawing on the board saying, okay, you went from being this fast to this fast, but now you've got to be this incredibly fast up here.
In this amount of time, and
you can't do it.
Frankly, I don't think.
And then he just kind of drops the mic and walks off.
but going back to that, it's that way of like, well, that's pretty harsh, but yeah, he's got a point.
Because Cisco and Snow were on Barry's side, where they were like, oh yeah, don't listen to him. Barry, you can do it. And by the end of the episode, when Barry's talking to Wally, he's like, I can't do it, but you're getting faster. Which kind of, I don't know if they meant to foreshadow at the beginning of the episode, but Barry's out there running, and Wally catches up to him at the beginning when he's waiting for him. So that already kind of shows that Wally's getting that extra speed there. Now, of course, we don't know if Barry was running at his slowest when Wally caught up to him, or how fast he was going. But I think that kind of bookended it well.
Didn't see that, but good point.
Yeah.
What else? I think that's about it.
This one was, it was a really good episode, but it was a very tight episode. Everything, except for when they said laws instead of law at one point, everything was very purposeful. They even kept they're keeping the coffee joke running because when Gypsy goes to leave, she's bringing bags of coffee with her. Nothing else, just bags of beans.
But we do know that HR now officially cannot come back to Earth 19.
As far as Earth 19 is concerned, he's dead.
She did her job.
Yeah. Yeah. So he cannot return home.
But then again, it looks like he's perfectly fine with it.
But I think that will come back in maybe like a C or D plot in an episode, because once it finally hits him that he cannot return home, kind of like when Harrison Wells of Earth 2 couldn't go home at first. It didn't hit him at first, but it finally started eating away at him, and then him and Jesse ended up leaving because they could.
Yes.
He could not.
Yes.
HR cannot, though. A little side note in the episode, how did you like during the Gypsy Cisco fight when they started jumping Earths?
Wish they could have done more.
I did too, but I like how they...
I like the test mocker.
Yeah. Yeah, so they...
Well, because I read on IMDb the cast, because I was trying to look at the girl who's playing Gypsy.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a credit for test mocker.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Do they have one on their Earth?
Are you on the right show?
Do they have one on their Earth? And I was like, oh,
yeah,
clever.
You jumped to Supergirl Earth, and you know...
That's the advantage of having it all filmed in Canada, probably on the same lot.
Yeah.
You can do stuff like that.
But I love how it just conveniently, she was the only one in the in Catco at the time, and I'm wondering if that's going to come up.
Well, Jimmy's table was broken, coffee table was broken, so I hope they address that.
Yeah, something has to come up in the next episode of Supergirl, even if it's just like a little one-shot little scene.
Or you just see like them cleaning it up and bringing in a new one.
Yeah.
They don't have to make a big deal though.
Yeah, just a sort of like, how did this happen sort of thing, and there doesn't have to be an explanation, just, you know, out of curiosity.
Exactly.
So,
but yeah, it was a tight episode. There's unlike with Supergirl, there wasn't a lot of revelation in per se to lead to something else. This episode of Flash had kind of this.
Yeah, but this episode really promotes the thing that I've talked about before, is character development and growth. This one definitely had that. I mean, Cisco and Snow kind of stayed the same, but you know, we learned a lot more about the other characters. Even Joe didn't really.
Joe's barely in it.
Barely in it, yeah.
When, that's okay. We know Joe.
Yeah. So unless he ends up dying, then you know.
Well, I was looking at various things, and they pointed out that in each season, Barry has lost a parent figure. Mm-hmm. Granted, there's only been 2 before this, but still, you know, in the first season, we know.
I mean, if you're going to start a tradition, though.
And he's got one more.
Yeah.
So, and it kind of fits in the whole, if you're changing the outcome in the future, you know, this point might still happen. It just will be different because you're changing these things.
Yeah.
So.
And as we're learning now, you can't change one domino. You have to change like 7 dominoes before, you know, I'm assuming that's going to be the season finale right there.
Right.
So off to the Marvel universe here, where we have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with our hot potato soup, which I'm not exactly 100% sure with the title, but that's what they called it.
Yes.
You know. So we have the return of Patton Oswalt. A
very welcome return to Patton Oswalt.
What is the plural of Patton Oswalt there? Because we have three Patton.
Yes.
Pattons, yeah.
4 total now.
4 total, yeah. And I even, because we have the 3 brothers and the 1 sister, and when we meet her, there was a second where I'm staring at the screen, I'm like, is she being played by Patton Oswalt? I mean, we have CG technology, you know, we have the makeup effects and all that, but no, that was an actress.
She is one of those character actors you've probably seen in a bunch of TV shows.
Oh yeah,
but you'll never know her name.
Exactly, yeah, and
including probably now still.
I've always said that if I ever became a movie or TV actor, that would be the type I'd want to be.
You just show up on TV shows randomly,
right?
You don't care if they know your name.
Yeah, the type because that's a great type of fame.
Yeah,
right there where everybody knows you, but you can still walk out. Like if she walked right past our studio windows here, just because I've seen the episode recently, I might recognize her, but. A week from now,
but would you?
But I might not. Yeah, I mean, if she was wearing the exact same thing, had the exact same hair and makeup, probably. But even if she just had her hair pulled back, I'd be like, who? Okay, I know her. She looks from. Do I work with her?
Quit bothering us.
Yeah, we are trying to record here. No, you cannot be on our show. So the return of the Oswalds, the Koenigs,
Koenigs,
yeah. They have the Darkhold.
Yes.
And they are playing hot potato with it.
Yes.
So don't get the soup, but I get the hot potato. They're moving it from Billy to Sam to Matt. Who's the sheeple one?
Oh crap!
I know. I was trying to see if I had it on my.
Well, he's not an agent, so
he's not an agent. No, he's doing what I thought was going to be stand up at first, but it ends up just being this political rant about how S.H.I.E.L.D. is bad, and the sheeple shouldn't be listening to all this stuff.
If I'm wrong, it's going to sound so stupid, but I want to say Thurston.
Thurston, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like T something.
I was like, if I'm wrong, that's just stupid.
Yeah, but so we have all of them together because Ratcliffe, who, I hate to say it, but he's a big bad.
Yes,
he definitely is. He knows that they have the Darkhold, and he is willing to do anything to get a hold of it. And that means even kidnapping one of the brothers, taking him on a sub. Getting him,
but except he didn't want to hurt him.
He didn't want to permanently damage him. And I love that exact wording.
Yeah.
Because Calico Jack is about to slice open his eye.
Yeah.
And I love the character that the supervisor is. Because this is Zach McGowan.
Yeah.
And this, when I was saying that I wanted him to take Calico Jack from Black Cells and bring it into the Marvel Universe, he has done that. There's nothing reputable about the supervisor character. He is bad, evil for bad sake. Ratcliffe is bad with the knowledge that he wants to make a better world.
Yes.
He wants it, he wants people to live longer. He wants LMDs to help people. He's going about it the wrong way, but he wants to do good. Where the supervisor's like, how can we be bad today? What evil can we do? You want somebody sliced open, you want this or that. He is just, unreprehensible. What did you think about him?
Because I don't know him.
Yeah.
I wasn't as impressed. I need a little more.
Yeah.
I thought the build up to who this man is, we still don't really know. We got a name, but we don't know who he is. So I need more from him.
Yeah.
I think introducing him the same episode we finally get Patton back was a bad idea.
I will agree with that.
Because even when he was torturing the Sam Koenig, he was still saying good, funny stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And, while I think IGN was talking about, it was a weird mix of the humor and the dark stuff.
It was a little too much of a juxtaposition, a little too extreme.
But at the same time, I welcomed it so much because we haven't seen Agent Koenig since season 2.
Yeah.
And I love Patton Oswalt, so it was like, okay, well, whatever you give me a Patton, I'm going to like.
Right.
And so...
I did like all his parts.
I loved all his parts.
Each of his characters and all that.
I love the scene with Quake.
Yes.
And we learned that we have not seen Agent Koenigs, either of them, with Quake at all since this episode.
Right.
I love he's just sitting there while she's doing probably the same thing he's seen her do many times before, and just like gawking.
He's fanboying about it. Yeah.
I can't believe I'm here with Quake. She's like, Billy, it's just me.
It's like,
you know me.
And it's very Patton Oswalt because it was like he was actually meeting a comic book character and just, okay, Patton, just be yourself. Imagine you're meeting the comic book version of Quake, and I imagine that's what he would do.
And I just love that. No, I knew you were Sky.
Right.
But you're Quake now. You're a superhero. It's like, what?
I'm not different.
I hate that name, actually.
But you're Quake.
You're like, you should see the online presence. You're like, a fan fiction.
Yeah.
There's
and then
not that I read it. Not that I read it.
Then he's like, no, you shouldn't.
Oh, he's like, there's something with you and Black Widow. And
yeah.
Not that I read it.
Yeah.
You should look it up. No, actually, don't look it up.
And just the way Patton plays that, I wonder how much of that was scripted and how much of that was just improv.
That was
it's very natural.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's why, I agree there was a weird balance, but it's Patton Oswalt. Come on.
Yeah. I think that the way they, when the supervisor first gets physically introduced, I think they went a little too heavy-handed on that for having it so early in the episode. If they would have ended the previous episode with that shadowy figure in the doorway,
Yeah.
it would have been more menacing than this because they went from shadowy figure to here he is.
Yes.
And that was a little too much too fast. And I mean, yeah, sure, we knew who the actor was. I was familiar with his type of character. So it really wasn't a surprise how he acted, but it would have been a nice reveal if they would have separated that.
However, they did reveal things. Man, this is a very revelatory trio of episodes we had.
Yeah.
So the whole mystery of May life model, not anymore.
No, yeah, because May finally achieved her mission.
Yes.
At least for a few seconds.
And Fitz and Simmons deduced that there is another LMD.
Yes.
And they deduced that it was May.
Mm-hmm.
So. And we got a lot of revelations about Fitz's past, which is, again, what you were saying about character development. We got to see more about,
And I really love
characters.
We're getting back to Fitz manning up.
Yeah.
Because he repaired Ratcliffe LMD, and he has him hooked up to all these it reminded me of Star Trek. Because it was like, we're going to use this science fiction technology type thing to like the nth degree where it actually makes no sense. Because like the tubes and wires and glowing green stuff they have them connected to, it was purely for show. I mean, just for the visual part. I love that. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not putting it down, but it was that sort of thing where it's like, do you really have to do this much, or could you just like plug them in to the computer? And they are realizing that Ratcliffe LMD thinks he's Ratcliffe.
Yes.
Yeah, and he honestly does.
And it's very hard to corrupt it because it's not all code; it's a brain in there.
Right. Yeah. A Darkhold type brain.
Yes.
But a brain nonetheless.
So it's no mystery now. The mystery of what Ada was building in that one episode, or with constructing with her hands, brain.
Yep. And that means if she can make one, she can make two, she can make an unlimited number of brains.
And I like how they were like, who else's brain has Dr. Radcliffe mapped recently? May!
Yeah. So but we all, like you were saying with we find out that Radcliffe knew or knows Fitz's dad.
And we find out that Fitz is not close to his dad.
No, not at all.
Yes.
So much so that when Radcliffe makes that revelation, I was like, Fitz has a dad? I mean, biologically, I knew that, I guess, but I just assumed that his dad was like off in Scotland just being a regular person or dead. Yeah. But Radcliffe even says, I saw your father not that long ago. And then Fitz unplugs him. So it's like, no, but we want to know.
And it cracked his skull open.
Yeah. And I like how Max still doesn't like the whole robot thing. Because he's got his shotgun axe. And he's like, no, we can take care of you. I can just, blow a hole in you right now. Or use the axe to chop your head off like he did Ada.
Let's see. What's another? The last revelation we got. Mm-hmm. Actually, no. The other one. So, ever since season 1, people... Ever since they revealed there's more than one Koenig, when Eric was dead, then Billy came in, then Sam came in. There was the long mystery or rumor or speculation that the Koenigs are life models.
Right.
They finally said once and for all they are not.
No, but they worked on the original project, But I love how they literally explained that in the episode where one of the characters goes, so they're life models? And the sister like, no.
No? What do you think? You think they're robots or something?
Yeah.
So we got that, and the last reveal is, we learned the supervisor's real plan. Yeah. Which is an odd one, for me at least. Just seems, okay, interesting.
How so? I mean, how do you think
I guess because we know the characters, and we see it from an all-knowing view. Okay. So his thing is, whenever something weird happens, there's Agent Coulson. Right. But we know it's like, well, it's not his fault.
Right. Yeah.
So even if you kill him, there is still going to be weird stuff.
You're just not going to have anything stopping it this time. Yeah.
At least from him. So
yeah, Coulson didn't bring the aliens. He was here to help us with the aliens.
So that's the weird thing to me, because we know it from an all-knowing point of view.
Right.
And I did like the throwbacks to movie stills from his characters in the films. But yeah, it's like, it's not his fault.
Right.
Yeah, I agree what you're getting at. He's there.
And sure, he was dead and now he's back alive, and that's a little weird.
And that's weird. I'm not saying that, but to say that Coulson is bringing in this.
But I do like that, because this isn't the first time in superhero lore that people have brought up, like with the Avengers, it's like, well, we have the Avengers and now we have weird things happening. This seems to be the first time where somebody's actually putting their foot down and going, okay, Coulson is bringing the bad guys in. I'm going to go take out Coulson.
Yes.
It's like he came with a plan and he is going to do it.
Oh, yeah. No, I like the intention. It's just the reasoning is just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to go against Coulson, your next objective better be the Avengers.
Right, yeah. And then, of course, the other thing we get with this is, we're going to get rid of the existing life models. And this time, instead of keeping their head in a locker somewhere, we're going to burn them.
Yes.
Except for May.
And the reasoning is because we do not know, or they do not know where May is.
Right.
So.
Well, we're not 100% sure now.
Well, I think she's in the sub.
Right.
Because when the last scene when they took May, it looked like what we saw in this episode, like the sub area.
But where are they bringing her? I
don't know. I just know where she popped.
By the next episode, she could be in Tahiti.
Yes.
The actual Tahiti.
Yes.
But yeah, they're hoping to get information from the LMD in some way, shape, or form. And I'm hoping it's not easy. I'm hoping that, it's not just cracking up in their head.
It's like with Radcliffe, they couldn't get information because that LMD thought he was Radcliffe.
Yeah. Yeah, and now that she, when she completed her mission, when she actually had the Darkhold, part of her brain kind of clicked to go, okay, now I'm doing this. But now that she's not holding the Darkhold, I wonder if it's going to click back to being regular May.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I wonder if, her joints heal as LMD because Quake cracked them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at least, as far as we know, they don't have to worry about that one going crazy and attacking people.
Yeah, she should be kind of immobile.
And if she starts attacking, just call Quake and she can just some more.
Probably doesn't even have to do it that hard. Just give her a little knockdown each time.
Yep.
Until she just decides to sit down.
The next episode
is called Boom.
We see the director back. That's all I really know.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
And we look forward to next week's episodes.
Yes, definitely.
And we're going to take a short break again, because as we promised, we will get into the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, Split.
Yes. But before we do that, I want to remind people that they can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at And The Beard.
Yes.
ANDTHEBEARD. Always make sure to add the D, because when I was making the Twitter account, I almost didn't put the D, so we were at the bear. For a minute
could have found something really weird.
That could have been. And there you'll find, anytime we upload an episode, it's going to be right on there. Also, we're going to put other stuff on the Twitter page, because the Instagram page we kind of both do. The Facebook page I'm working on, because that's actually through my wife's account, because I don't have Facebook. And then the Twitter page, I'm mainly adding stuff to. So when I did watch Riverdale, which I put on Twitter that we will not be reviewing because it is just a soap opera that happens to have comic book character names to it. That's all you need to know.
It's okay. I wasn't even planning on watching it ever.
Our listeners can check it out if they want. If they like it, fine. I don't want to hear your opinions about it because I thought it was hot garbage. Beautiful hot garbage because it was very well shot. It was very well done, but garbage. It's not in my wheelhouse. So until next week, for those who aren't going to split, or who are going to split before split,
yes,
we'll see you next week. But for those who want to stay, we will be talking about splits. And what a twist, we're back!
Now, did you see Split?
I did not see Split.
And you're okay with me spoiling it?
I am okay with you spoiling it, because I've actually already spoiled it for myself, but only from reading. actually. I've not watched any videos talking about it. I've not watched any clips from it other than the actual trailers.
So what I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep, there's a trend with M. Night's movies.
Right.
It's a twist.
Right.
In my mind, Split, the big reveal wasn't a twist.
Okay. Well, let's talk about M. Night Shyamalan for a little bit first. For people who might not be familiar with his work, which I'm guessing if you're going to see Split, then you probably are. But of course, his first big work was
The Sixth Sense.
The Sixth Sense. Then he went to Unbreakable, and then
Signs,
The Village,
Lady
and
in
then,
the Water.
Yeah, starts falling downhill at that point.
Yes.
What's your favorite M. Night movie?
Either Signs or Unbreakable.
Okay.
Because Sixth Sense, like we mentioned earlier, you see it once,
Mm-hmm.
and the first time you see it, it's unbelievable.
Right. Yeah. And thankfully I saw it in theaters.
I saw it in theaters as well.
Mm-hmm.
No one spoiled it.
Right.
But you see it again, you're only watching it for clue's sake.
Right. Yeah.
Which, can be fun with a group of people, but the thrill is gone.
Right.
With something like Unbreakable and Signs, they were more character.
Right.
So while there was a twist,
Mm-hmm.
it still holds up. You could still watch the film.
Yeah, I definitely gotta say that Signs is
Not
my
to say
favorite.
that Sixth Sense didn't have character development.
Right.
But it's such a big twist in it.
Mm-hmm. If you can only watch a movie once, I don't think it can go on anybody's number one top favorite list.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got to agree with you about Signs, especially because I've seen Signs multiple times now. And Signs, as far as M. Night movies go, doesn't really have a huge twist to it. It's more of just like a science fiction alien movie, and I like that.
Yeah.
I did also like the concept of the village.
Mm-hmm.
I did not care for the movie, though. I wanted the creatures to actually be creatures, even if they were like genetically modified creatures, in order to keep people within the village out of the real world. And yes, we're even spoiling the old M. Night movies here. But his newest, after that, he kind of really starts going downhill.
Yes.
Most people haven't even seen like Lady of the Lake or
Lady in the Water.
Lady in the Water.
The Happening.
The Happening. The Visits.
He did The Last Airbender.
Oh, that
After Earth.
The Last Airbender is just another breed of garbage right there. Because that was like, we're going to take the title of something and then do whatever the hell we want with it.
This one, I can't say he's returned to form, but it's going back to just, okay, let's make a good movie.
And the 30-second plot synopsis.
So we have these three teenagers. Mm-hmm. One of them, you find out, is sort of the outcast and was only invited to a birthday party, which is starts off with a kind of like a teenage kind of birthday lunch, dinner, whatever.
Okay.
One of them was only invited because she didn't want to feel awkward and not inviting the only person, everybody else but this person.
So you have the two pretty girls and the one average girl.
Yeah. They are kidnapped by James McAvoy's character, and at first you don't know why, and then you see
Professor X. You really you can't be doing that.
And then, much like in the trailer, you find out that he is a schizo,
right?
A very extreme schizo.
Yeah. And for the psychology majors out there, pardon us for misusing phrases because I don't know every politically correct term to use.
And then as also in the trailer, you see that he is. He has a doctor, and they used her as a good plot point, and not in a bad way, but she does have a lot of, her character's background, she's done a lot of extensive work on this person.
Right.
And the main person's body is named Kevin.
Okay.
And she's also done work on how, like, in split personalities, when they change to another person, their body chemistry changes as well.
Okay.
Because that comes up.
Okay.
And...
do we know if that's actual fact or not?
I think I read somewhere that they got it from that there was a guy who was able to somewhat change his blood type. Okay.
Because it sounds very werewolf-like.
Oh yeah. Well, if you are an actual psych major on this disorder, this movie doesn't help. Okay. It's purely for science fiction purposes. Yeah. So it's not an actual representation.
So it's like watching Pocahontas for historical point of view.
It's not an actual representation. Okay. So you find out that the girls are held there because they are basically there for sacrificing to the beast. Okay. And the beast is hinted as so Kevin has 23 personalities that live in him. Mm-hmm. The beast is speculated to be the 24th coming in.
Okay.
And the way it happens, they explain it, so there's 23 people living inside Kevin's body. 2 of them are bad.
Okay.
As in they are not the good ones. So how they describe how those people in Kevin's head, so they're in a room, they're sitting in chairs. So if you have control, you're in the light.
Okay. So they're all James McAvoy. It's a circle of McAvoy?
I guess so. And there is the 9-year-old boy who I guess Hedwig that helps the 2 bad ones.
Okay.
So
he's bad in training?
He's bad at, or I think they use the young boy to manipulate and all that blah blah stuff. And so Dennis and Patricia are the bad ones.
Okay.
Those are the 2 you see, the one that kidnaps.
So it's not just male personalities?
No.
Okay.
And there is actually a few female ones. And the thing is, the movie plays out exactly like that.
Okay.
You know, they're kidnapped. They are being awarded to the Beast. The Beast comes. It is, in fact, the 24th personality. And the whole notion of the body chemistry changing. So he becomes nearly invulnerable.
Okay.
Like, the main girl was shot him with a shotgun twice. And he still kept coming.
Oh, wow.
So... And then she manages to survive because his thing is he wants to rid the world the unpure.
Right.
And we learned that the main girl, you see, her name is Casey in the movie. She unfortunately has a history of molestation by her uncle, and she has scars from it. So I guess the Beast saw that she is pure because she has suffered.
So in this case, perfection is unpure?
I guess so.
Okay.
I guess innocence and something like that is unpure. I don't know.
Okay.
But nonetheless, so she shot him twice with a shotgun. He kept coming and was about to break into the jail cell, this metal jail cell that she hid herself in as protection. But he saw that she has been hurt in her life and deemed her, you're okay.
Okay.
And he runs away. And then there's...
Now, does he still, when he is, quote unquote, the Beast, does he still look like James McAvoy?
Oh yeah, he's just like jacked up.
Okay.
And not even like like a Bane jacked up. He just looks more toned. And I think it's alluded that the Beast and the 3 personalities you see predominantly through the film are now in full control.
Okay.
And the movie ends. The twist, to me, is people are calling it a twist.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a twist. It's a reveal in a way. Because a twist, if you take what I'm about to say out the film, it's still a film.
Yeah.
So the twist to some people...
The post-credit sequence?
Post-credit sequence to me. So they're in a diner, and in the news you find out that he's been going around killing people, and they've nicknamed him the Horde.
Right.
Because I guess it's pretty obvious now that there are multiple personalities running through this body.
And Legion was already taken.
Yes. And there's a lady, they're watching it, she's going, wow, this reminds me of about 15 years ago, this funny little man did the same thing. What's his name? And then, very secretly, and then the camera moves towards, sitting right next to her, sipping a cup of coffee. There is Bruce Willis, and just says, Mr. Glass.
From Unbreakable.
Yeah. And you learn that this movie takes place in the same universe as Unbreakable.
Okay.
So, assumingly, because lately they are saying that they're going to try to make Unbreakable 2. So, Split was the origin of the new villain.
So this is kind of a sidequel?
Yes.
A sequel. It's a sequel, but not a sequel in the same time.
So it's an origin to the villain.
Right.
So because assumingly if they are managed to execute Unbreakable 2, Bruce Willis's character will fight James McAvoy.
Yeah.
So, but I'm hesitant to call it a twist.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It sounds more like a surprise reveal than a twist. Yeah.
Because let's say you take the whole Bruce Willis is dead thing out of Sixth Sense. There's barely a movie.
Right.
It's just a very sad child and a very lonely Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
But this one, like I said, the movie, if you watch the trailers, you're naturally in your mind, because it's an M. Night movie, you think it's a twist.
Right.
There is no. The movie plays out exactly like that.
So it's similar to Signs, where there's the twist with the aliens not liking water and the little girl leaving out water. But that's not really a twist
Yeah.
in the traditional sense. This also kind of reminds me of, like the Marvel movies with, like if you take the first Iron Man and you don't have the post-credit sequence, Iron Man is still a great film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie is still a coherent movie without the Bruce Willis reveal. It's better with it now.
Right.
But you didn't. But I think I read that when he was test creating this, he didn't even have that scene in there.
Okay.
And it still was a movie.
Yeah.
So the twist to me was that there is no twist.
And it's also with this movie I was reading, he's going back to doing lower budgets. I mean, $9 million is still a lot for us, but for most films and stuff like that are using like double-digit millions, 9 million is bottom of the barrel there, and it's already made what, 140 million,
good chunk
something
of change,
like that. Yeah.
But there were some scenes where it was written kind of weird. But then I'm like, well, you're trying to get back into an M Night, so I'll guess I'll give you a leeway. But there was some line execution that was just so weird.
So is this a rewatchable?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you want to just see like just kind of an actor on steroids, as in like the acting steroids, like McAvoy changes from personality to personality. There's a couple of sequences that he does that. It's pretty cool.
Okay. So you get to see him as something besides Professor X.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and also he plays with different accents for him and everything.
Okay.
Different type of person. So it was an interesting showcase for James McAvoy.
Okay. Excellent. Is it worth buying on Blu-ray when it comes out?
I think if they really are going to try to do Unbreakable 2, I will wait for the trilogy.
Yeah, get the box
set. I think I will. Maybe not immediately.
Yeah.
Because I know there is something coming up.
Right.
Or hopefully.
Yeah.
And even if they don't, I think it was a nice kind of surprise reveal that you use your imagination to find out what happens.
Right. So, yeah, get Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis with McAvoy, and I think you got a good movie there.
I don't know. I wouldn't use Sam Jackson again.
Yeah.
I think they use that character the best they can. I think it's the notion of like, well,
I think they could still use him as a, I haven't seen Split, of course, but I think they could use him as a behind the scenes character.
I was talking to Mike. They could use him.
We'd love you on the show, Mike.
they could use him as like maybe he goes to visit Mr. Glass and like the Hannibal Lecter type.
Okay.
But then again, but still, I thought Mr. Glass was kind of like Heath Ledger's Joker in a sense for that movie. He did his thing.
Right.
If it can't get any better, don't use him.
Right.
Because we got a new person to battle with.
Yeah.
And it's been years, so you gotta feel like Bruce Willis's character from Unbreakable has kind of got a hang on what to do.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I don't know. I mean, maybe you are writing it.
Yeah.
With Sam Jackson in mind.
So it definitely sounds like Split is something that people need to go out and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't as scary as some people may think.
Well, I thought, just seeing the previews, I see it more as a psychological thriller sort of thing.
But when it comes to streaming, check it out.
Yeah, so definitely see it on Netflix, Amazon, all that.
Yeah.
And if you do go see it in theaters, tell them that TeeVo and the Beard sent you, and you get one free weird look.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and who knows, they might start listening to us.
Maybe.
But until next week.
Until next week.